Greetings everyone. In our previous video, we did speak about those that are applying for a spouse visa. We said you need to apply for a waiver to ask them to waiver the condition which will not allow you to work or to carry out any business. We explained that the spouse visa does not allow the holder to conduct any business or to perform any work or study. Then there were questions which were asked to say, what then should happen to those that have already applied? A comrade assisted me when he watched the video. He then sent me a WhatsApp message and drew my attention to Immigration Act 11(6). He had consulted the lawyer because he applied for a spouse visa, and when it came out, there was that condition which says you cannot take up employment. So he then went to consult the lawyers to say, under the circumstances, what should he do? He was then advised to apply for a visitor's visa, which is under section 11(6). Now, if you have already applied for a spouse visa, and remember, you only apply for a spouse visa if your partner is South African or is on permanent residence. If you have already applied and you did not apply for a waiver for them to waiver the condition which says you should not carry out any activities like employment, conducting a business, you need to apply for a visitor's visa under section 11(6). A visitor's visa under section 11(6) is only issued to a person who has a spousal visa already. Remember, a spousal visa falls under the relative visa. So, in normal circumstances, it is known as a relative spousal visa. So, once you have that visa, it is then that you apply for a visitor's visa under section 11(6). You do not apply for a visitor's visa when you are not in possession or when you are not the holder of a relative spouse visa. You do not do that because it is only issued to a person who is a holder of a relative spousal visa. Normally it is only issued for a period of 3 years. The visitor's visa under section 11(6). It is only issued for a period of 3 years. So if which the Home Affairs Department will have to clarify, because holders of Zimbabwe exemption permits are being granted waivers. They are applying for waivers, and as we explained in the last videos that while you do not necessarily need a waiver to apply for a spousal visa and a relative visa, it will not allow you to work. I have seen, it's part of our tradition that in most cases a man will say their wife will not work. So if say you are a housewife, that's the normal term, or you are not gainfully employed outside the home environment. Remember, we spoke about this in another video, will not bring it here. But let's say you are in charge of your home. You are not employed elsewhere or running a business elsewhere. which you are normally called a housewife. My apologies if that would be a wrong term. You do not need to apply for a waiver for them to waiver the condition of you not being allowed to carry out employment because you are a housewife. So you simply apply for a spousal visa, that's it. But if you are working and you want to continue working, whether you are female or male, you want to continue working, you need, after you have received your spousal visa, let's assume they do not grant you your request for them to waiver the condition of not taking up employment or starting or running a business. It is then that you apply for a visitor's visa under section 11 bracket 6. And I want to clarify something or to correct something so that we are not seen as misleading. The reason we are saying you apply for a waiver for them to waiver the condition of you not being or of you being allowed to take up employment or starting or running a business. It is because the condition of a spousal visa is such, right? That is the condition normally. So after we looked into those conditions, we then developed this opinion that, wait a minute, one might need to apply for a waiver to ask the Department of Home Affairs to waiver the condition of the applicant or the holder of a spousal visa not being able to conduct business, run a business, work or study. Let's then assume that they insist on placing that condition on this relative spousal visa. You will then have to apply for a visitor's visa under section 11 bracket 6, which will then allow you to work, study or run a business. As I've said, it is normally issued for a duration of 3 years. I hope this explains. There is a comrade also, just to quickly check the questions. There's a comrade who was also asking a similar question. I hope he is answered. I will read what he wrote. He says, "Is Comrade Simbarashe Mandiara." Says, "Thank you for your diligence in keeping us updated, Mr. Mapena. However, may I ask clarity? As per this video, meaning the video that we released before this one, I've lost. However, may I ask clarity? As per this video, ZEP holders who apply for a spousal visa need to also apply for a waiver to be allowed to work. As a Zimbabwean married to a South African spouse, I was advised to apply for a visitor's visa section 11 bracket 6, which, as I understand, will allow me to stay with my spouse and be allowed to work in South Africa as well. Does this mean I should have applied for a waiver as well, or is this the only applicable to individuals that apply specifically for a spouse visa?" I hope you are now answered that once you obtain your relative spousal visa, it is then that you apply for a visitor's visa under section 11 bracket 6, so that you are able to carry out your economic activities. So I hope Comrade Simbarashe is answered. And the comrades were discussing this. He says, "Is that not covered under sponsor?" Is Comrade Norman Chibanda says, "Is that not covered by sponsored visa section 11 bracket 6, where you are required to apply with working or business rights? Do you still need to waiver that on 11.6? Can't you differentiate the two if at all they are different?" I have tried to do this because firstly, the visitor's visa under section 11 bracket 6 is only granted to a person that is already on a spousal visa, right? If your partner is South African, is on a permanent residence, you have been granted a spousal visa with the condition, under the visa's condition, that you are not allowed to take up employment or business, run a business, or start, as I've been explaining, Comrade Nomenechi Banda, you then apply for the visitor's visa. So you cannot from ZEP apply for a visitor's visa, as I understand the act, before you are granted with a relative sponsored visa. Thank you so much, comrades. Let's keep assisting each other. Like I said previously, that I know I have comrades who follow this YouTube channel who are clear on the Immigration Act of South Africa. Let's assist each other so that everyone will understand what they need to do. Please circulate this video, like the video, and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Please keep your comments and your questions coming. My apologies, I know I'm receiving so many WhatsApp individual messages. We created groups in our various media platforms so that questions can be asked there. I see in our Telegram chat group, there are comrades that are assisting in responding speedily to the questions that are asked. When you come to my inbox on WhatsApp, which I do not discourage, but because of the many WhatsApp messages that I receive, I end up taking 48 or 36 hours to respond to your WhatsApp, given the other work that I do outside this YouTube channel. Otherwise, thank you so much. Goodbye.